Hey y'all, Knox here with the American Suppressor Association, and welcome to the November 2024 Suppressor Policy Update. Let me first acknowledge the obvious. It looked like I got in a fist fight with a bear. So what really happened? You'll never know. In today's video, we're going to talk about the election and the impact it will have on suppressors, tell you about Suppress Fest, the ASA Forum, and the ASA Foundation Banquet, and fill you in on our time at CSF's annual NASC conference in Baton Rouge. But before we do that, let's talk about wait times. According to ATF, as of October 8th, E-Form 4s averaged 26 days for individuals and 65 days for NFA trusts. Fast forward to November 1st, and those numbers are respectively 26 days for individuals and 55 days for trusts. That's an additional 10 days off the average for trusts. What that tells us is that ATF is actively working to close the gap between individual and trust transfers. As far as medians go, according to our friends at Silencer Shop, the wait range for their customers is 1 to 88 days, with a median of 17 days for individuals and 27 days for trusts. You may notice that those medians have ticked up a little bit since our last update, but that is likely because of ATF's work to implement changes to bridge the gap between individuals and trusts. Now that those changes have been made, expect median times to fall back in line. Once again, we have to note that faster average and median times doesn't mean everyone is going to get their application approved that quickly. There will be applications that take longer. That's just how averages and medians work. Nonetheless, from a time perspective, there truly has never been a better time to buy a suppressor. On November 5th, the country took to the polls in what is widely regarded as one of the most impactful elections in a generation. Make no mistake, your Second Amendment rights were very much on the ballot. You're not here to listen to me recap the results, but in case you somehow missed them, Republicans took control of both chambers of Congress and President Trump was elected to another term. So what does that mean for suppressors? Let me start by saying this. With President Trump in the White House, we will have the best opportunity to effect meaningful change for suppressors that we have ever had. The executive branch controls every agency and regulation within the federal government, so our ability to claw back draconian Biden-era regulations like ATF's zero-tolerance policy, the pistol brace rule, frame and receiver definitions, and many more has never been better. Remember, ASA's General Counsel Michael Williams served as President Trump's chief Second Amendment policy advisor for over a year, starting in 2019. Within a few weeks, Michael helped the administration successfully unsign the UN Arms Trade Treaty, no small feat. We are beyond thrilled for the opportunity to work alongside President Trump and his team to enact meaningful change for suppressors in the upcoming administration, and we will keep you updated as things progress. Now, when it comes to Congress, things are looking good inasmuch as we almost certainly won't have to worry about bad legislation being enacted. But with razor-thin margins in both the House and the Senate, the likelihood that we can enact any meaningful pro-suppressor reform is slim. The Hearing Protection Act will be introduced, but without any votes to spare in the House and without a clear path to 60 votes in the Senate, it is incredibly unlikely that HPA will get to President Trump's desk in the next 2 years. So, in case you tuned out, we have a real shot at enacting meaningful regulatory change with President Trump back in the White House. But don't hold your breath for any major legislative victories. Shifting gears, on October 26th and 27th, Adam Johnson of the NFA Review Channel hosted his annual Suppress Fest near Orlando, Florida. ASA's Owen Miller was on hand alongside nearly 30 vendors, including ASA sponsors Capital Armory, Silencer Co., Dead Air, YHM, Hux, Thunderbeast, and Rugged Suppressors. During the event, Adam hosted a raffle to raise money for the ASA Foundation. By the end of the weekend, he helped raise nearly $18,000 for the ASA Foundation. So Adam, thank you for inviting us to your event, and thank you for supporting our mission. We can't wait to participate in Suppress Fest again next year. On October 30th, we hosted our annual ASA Industry Forum in Austin, Texas. Sponsored by Elevated Silence, NASGW, Silencer Co., and Silencer Shop, this year's forum brought together nearly 50 leading suppressor industry members from dozens of companies to discuss everything from market trends to sound testing and advocacy to public education. It was our most engaging forum yet, with panelists from the Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, Congressional Sportsman Foundation, Silencer Shop, ATF, CRC Advisors, and even the White House. Well, the former White House. If you're in the industry and are interested in participating next year, please reach out to us at info@amsuppressor.com. Immediately after the industry forum, the ASA Foundation hosted our second annual Silent Night banquet at the Bullock, Texas State History Museum. The event was made possible by generous support from title sponsor Elevated Sounds, dinner sponsor Silencer Co., cocktail sponsor Silencer Shop, live auction sponsor Sig Sauer, and dessert sponsor JK Armament. Nearly 140 people showed up to support ASAF in our litigation efforts to make Suppressor's 50-state legal. By the end of the night, we raised nearly $200,000 to put towards our lawsuits. None of this would have been possible without support from our sponsors and the generous attendees who bid high on our auction items. Special thanks to our friends at Silencer Co., Silencer Shop, Anechoic, and CRC Advisors. The evening was capped off by a phenomenal keynote address from former White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney just 6 days prior to the election. Hearing his insights that close to the election day was truly special. The ASA team put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making these events a success. So if y'all see Jess Cummings or Owen Miller around, be sure to let them know it was a job well done. And if you missed out this year, don't worry, because we will be back next year for the 3rd annual Silent Night Banquet. Stay tuned for details. Last, but certainly not least, Owen Miller and I attended CSF's National Assembly of Sportsman's Caucus's annual meeting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Over the years, ASA has worked alongside NAS members from both sides of the aisle to successfully push pro-suppressor reform in many states across the country. In fact, ASA has attended every NAS conference since 2012. This year's conference was fantastic, with over 300 attendees, including legislators from all over the country. ASA made inroads that are impossible for us to make elsewhere. On the second day of the conference, we even hosted a live fire demonstration for about 150 of the attendees. Now, we would like to thank CSF for being wonderful partners and allowing us to participate every year in their NASC conference. So long as we keep getting the invite, we will be there. And thank you as well to our friends at Lipsy's for allowing us to come by and say hello while we were in Baton Rouge. It is truly always a pleasure to see y'all. Well, that's all I've got for your November Suppressor Policy Update. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next month for our 2024 Year in Review Update.